Hello there, this is Terry, and this will be today's road trip. So I actually started this morning here in Fallon and decided to try to beat the storm by heading to Reno first and then coming back into the state ahead of the storm. So I actually came through on alternate Highway 50. First kind of town you go through on that road is Hazen right here, which the only thing I really know about it is that was the site of the last lynching in the state. After Hazen, you come through the Hot Springs area and then drop down as you head into Fernley, in which case I got to race a train, and surprisingly I was going faster than the train. The nice thing I like about Fernley, at least when I pass through, if I'm not actually stopping in town, is they have two amazing roundabouts and very little traffic. So, of course, when you're on a sport bike, you have to play on the roundabouts. Sorry. So that was the first one, which is actually near a gas station. This is the main one, which is connecting Highway 50 with Interstate 80. And if I had gone through, I would have gone through downtown Fernley, but instead, since I wanted to get on 80, I just go through. Interstate 80 does provide some amazing views, especially as you come down and go into the canyon. That's the Sierra Nevadas back there in the background. Once you get into Reno, all I did was I jumped on the Spaghetti Bowl to connect to 580 and head down to Carson. Thankfully, the area has been redesigned fairly well, so traffic really isn't that bad, but it's Sunday morning, so traffic's not that bad anyways. As you can see, the weather's absolutely beautiful. It was an amazing ride. I had so much fun. And even though, yes, it was windy, it was still warm. I think it was somewhere in the 60s when I went through. So just an extra layer underneath my gear, and I was toasty warm the whole way down. Now, at the south end, this used to be the end of the highway, or the end of the freeway. Actually, the next exit going up towards Mount Rose. But you would always have to get off here in order to get onto Virginia Street. They've completed the section connecting here to Washoe Valley, but I still want to get off because I love this off-ramp. This off-ramp is an amazing sweeping curve. The only downside to it is there's no bank, so it's flat. If you're in a top-heavy vehicle, it's an interesting ride as you're going around this corner. But on the bike, all you do is lean into it. Oh, and you get a great start to a very fun trip if you continue on and go up to Virginia City via Geiger Grade, which is where, of course, I had to go because I'm on a bike. Going flat and straight is boring. Sorry. So after I got to the intersection, I turned and headed up the mountain. In the background, let's see, that is Slide Mountain and also Mount Rose. Spring skiing is in full season at the moment, but I'm more of a summer person, so of course I have to do the bike trip. And I love Geiger Grade. Geiger Grade is a great road. It's an easy road to drive. You just have to be careful because of the rocks and debris that end up getting on the road, and my biggest fear is, a bunch of horses coming down onto the road. But it's all along the front of the mountain, and so it does provide an amazing overlook of the Reno Sparks, Truckee Meadows, going down into Pleasant Valley and looking down into Washoe Lake. So we're actually coming up upon an overlook that they've got here, and it looks like an old campground. I don't know the history of this campground, but you can see places where you could pull off at one point in history, and there's fire pits all over the place. There's what I have no idea why it was closed, but oh, it would be so much fun to be able to camp right here just with the view that's provided from that particular overlook. So, and of course I was waving because the car was going just a little bit slower than me. I tend not to speed. I'm not that confident on the bike, but I do tend to go about 5 miles per hour over, which, according to my speedometer and a GPS, means that I'm actually going the speed limit. Here's Virginia City. Being the weekend, Virginia City was packed. It was a little bit more packed than I anticipated, and I had intended to film all the way through, but it was going a little slower and a little longer, and so I just kind of cut it as we got into town. But this is the main road. This is C Street. There's a lot to do in Virginia City, but I just skip on through, turn down the truck route, and continue cruising down and carving these wonderful curves. The truck route is a great place to play if you've got a low sporty car or if you've got a motorcycle. In fact, there was actually two bikers down at the bottom of the hill getting ready to come up, and there was two more that I passed after I finished getting down here and was heading out towards Mound House. Now, the neat thing about this particular road is because you are driving through the Comstock area, is you get to see a lot of the history that is still there. Because of the weather that we have here, a lot of the artifacts, a lot of the ruins are still standing. And I love finding mining history. I'm not a mining expert. I space on what things are called and what they were done with. But just seeing the technology, seeing the remains is always a fun treat. In fact, this corner that I'm going around right now, inside this, kind of on a small dirt road, which is right there, there's like, I think it's a hopper. It was where they dumped all the ore in order to be processed. That's still standing there in the middle of that turn. You just can't see it because it's down in the canyon. But you can see the tailings, you can see the mine dumps, you can see the head frames, I think is what they're called. They were actually used to support the cable for the elevator shaft and the elevator going up and down. And I realized as I was watching this video that this little community right down here at the base of the hill before you actually start climbing the mountain, I can't remember the name of it. It's not Gold Hill because Gold Hill's further up, and I'm not sure if it's part of Silver City. But I do know that at the bottom of this turn that I'm coming up to is a paved road that comes off and it turns into dirt, and that is actually the old toll road that connected this community with Dayton. Yeah, forgive the little construction. They're expanding Highway 50 into a split-lane highway. Once I reached Silver Springs, I turned south. I actually used the Ramsey Weeks cutoff and headed down 95. And, of course, the first place you pass by is Buckland Station, and you cross over the Carson River. Buckland Station and the nearby Fort Churchill are all part of the Lahontan State Park. Great place to go. Fantastic. Just take your kayak out, go have a lot of fun, camp, drive around, explore. As I was heading south, most of the time this area is dry. I think this is the most water that I have seen in this particular region just north of Wabusca. There are marshes further out, and you can see during certain times of the year steam coming up. Excuse me. On the east side of the road, but I don't remember seeing this much water out here. So I had to film it. And of course this is coming up to Wabusca, the town of Wabusca, one building. It used to be a bar. I think I heard it closed not too long ago. And then also on 95, just outside of Yerington, is this house, castle, building. Fantastic construction. It's the weirdest place I've seen, and it's beautiful. I also managed to catch here, this is just outside of Yerington, actually just outside of Weed Heights. It is one of the few remaining drive-up theaters that I know about that are still standing. By the way, hello! Yes, I had to do my coffee break. And while I was sitting there, another biker rolled in, and we managed to talk for a little bit. Very friendly guy. Absolutely enjoyed talking with him. This is one of the reasons why I like being on a motorcycle, is because you actually do run into these awesome people, and it's just, talk. One time I was up in Virginia City during Thunder on the Mountain, and I was worried because I didn't have this particular Ninja. I had another Ninja, but I was all plastic, and everybody up there was metal and chrome. And one biker pulled up next to me, and he was like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "Good," though I'm feeling a little, outnumbered. He looked down, and he was like, "I count 2 wheels. That's all you need." And so it was great. I was actually getting buffeted around quite a bit. The wind was coming up really, really badly because we've got a storm coming in tonight. And then I finished off this trip by heading back in through the south part of Fallon, and of course decided to take Main Street, which was the original street. And up into a point, when you get to Center Street, starting here, this is actually the old Lincoln Highway. It cut through town like this and then turned east, went to a park that was on the outskirts of town before connecting and continuing off towards Austin and the other communities out there. So I decided to finish off going through the center of town. I need to go into that theater. I haven't been there. I've lived here 2 years already. I have not seen a movie there yet. So this video is about to wrap up. I want to thank you very much for joining me on this long road trip that I squeezed into 10 minutes. But again, thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a wonderful day, and talk to you then. Bye!